Hello, small people of the netherworldness of YouTube. No, seriously. Nobody's in here yet. I'm talking to myself. I didn't want to talk to myself. Computer issues, so I can't keep the page open to know if there's anybody in here to start talking or not. So I'm just going to talk about random stuff and tell people, hey, there's Just Aid. What's up, Just Aid? Just Aid gets the gold star because he's first. I'm going to like, hey, there's Lady S. I heard a song. I downloaded it from some PDF files on Patreon, and I was going to play it at the start of this. You know what? Watch this. Because, well, hey, Frank. Whoops, wrong button. Wrong button. Wrong button. Hold on. I got this. I don't know how to run my own computer. I got this. It's not a problem. Maybe. Maybe it's not a problem. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. This is just for you, lady. AC 103 and Mrs. West and stuff. Yes, I'm going to get hit for this, and they're going to like tell me that I'm going to have to make Sticks rich. Does anybody know the title to this song? That's all the hints you get.
Hey, Dad. I need a great thing.
A great thing?
Like, you know the grill thingies? I need something like that that's not inside the grill.
For what purpose? What are you doing with it?
To put it on top of those cups so I can put the canvas on top so the canvas doesn't get stuck to the table. By the table. Because if I just put the cups in, it'll bulge where I put the cups, so I need something flat.
So you want to suspend? What is? Let me see your canvas. Apparently, the live stream is on hold while I rectify a problem with my daughter's whatever thing. You get that big old box?
It's just one. Like,
just
well,
one?
There's
let's say, like, now you're worried about this canvas, which is suspended by these little boards, which has this big open area from sticking to that plastic throw.
Yeah.
Why not get 2 more cups and put one under this corner, one under this corner, one under this corner, and one under this corner with 4 cups and suspend it off of the table that way?
What if the cup gets stuck?
What does it matter?
There's going to be paint that pours over the side of it.
Yes, but then when you tear the cup off, the paint that's on the canvas will stay on the canvas. The paint that's on the cup will stay on the cup. Problem solved. Thank you. That'll be $39.95.
You're expensive hell.
I am. I really am. You should have known that.
I have all these canvases too, but I'm not using these just yet.
Okay. Well, you should hide them from me because you are aware that your dad has a painting hobby.
What's that one?
Well, yeah. And,
I could put that underneath the...
And then on the cups or whatever.
Because I put a tablecloth that way. I wouldn't mess the table up, but that works too. You can have one.
I'm just messing with you. I make my own canvas out of tablecloth.
He's trying to do that. You can borrow one. Okay, so let me tell you this real quick. So this one, I need Mommy to print out the little thingy.
I have a topic, guys. Just stick with me.
Give us a moment. Sorry. Okay, so this one, I'm going to get a cutout of a unicorn head, and I'm going to put it on the side, and then I'm going to, so say this is long this way of that one, and I'm going to put the unicorn head over here, and then I'm going to put the paint here, and I'm going to do this swipey twirly type thing, and then I'm going to pull the canvas off, and all of this is going to be white, like blank space of like an outline of a unicorn.
Cool. Good luck with that. No, really, good luck with that. I use paintbrushes.
I
Show me when you're done.
Okay. This one, I can't tell you what I'm doing with this one just yet.
Baby, there's like people waiting. Hello. Now then, I think that's over. She's very excited, and I'm very supportive of what she's doing. So there's that. I don't understand this whole modern art thing, but I do support creativity in young people. Did anybody read the title before they showed up, or did they just show up? I just showed up. What is the title of this anyway? I believe it has something to do with.
In that song that says, "Lady is the song."
Yes, Lady is the song.
And so it says by Styx.
Yes. I wasn't like thinking all romantical about you. I just, your name and the song, and I was like, Amanda, that's my sister-in-law. I sing that to her all the time. Anyway. Yes, it is. Okay. Anyway, y'all want to get down to the topic before I get completely distracted? There you go. Okay. What we have here is, we're preppers or whatever. I guess some of us are preppers. Some of us are survivalists. Some of us are bushcrafters. Some of us are aware, whatever. Some of us just cautious. Let's go with cautious. All of us cautious folks in here want to be ready in case something untoward happens to our world, our country, our county, our whatever. So I guess I could turn the camera on. Let me turn the camera on because y'all ain't seen my smiling, beautiful face yet. Yeah, something like that, then. 1 or 2 scars. Anyway. Yeah, here I am. See, I'm alive. Before you just got to see my profile because I was talking to whatever. See, y'all get to watch me. I'm gonna watch her do this. She got the door open and stuff. I get it's like free TV. Dude. Most of the things we do to store food, like we have a vacuum sealer. That's not going to work very long. Eventually, all the lead acid batteries will be, and then the NiCads will go. See what I'm saying? If it's really, really, really long standing badness that happens. Is badness a word? It is now. I just made that a word. It's official. It's in the Wes's dictionary. Go look it up. You need, and I'm not going to try to explain to y'all how to do all these. There's books out there that go in depth on how to do this stuff. There's videos available. Yeah. So Staff Sergeant did a thing on a series of books that would be very, very useful. He's also done a deal similar to this on the different ways you can store food. The first one that came to my mind was smoking your food, not like putting it in a paper or a pipe, guys, but using dehydration and smoke to remove the, using heat and smoke to treat your meat, your food meat. Some of you guys, I swear, to make it last longer. You get a deer. You can't put it in the freezer. You can't eat it all in one setting. You don't have a way to can it or whatever. You've got to dry it. You need to practice drying meat. Start off simple. Do it in your oven. Believe it or not, it's not that hard to make dried meat in your oven. Put it on warm, leave the door open. Leave it cracked open a little bit. The heat will vent, or the heat, it'll stay warm enough in there to where the cooties don't like it and the moisture will evaporate off. It takes a while. It's expensive to dry meat in your oven. It's not the most efficient way, but it's the first time I ever made jerky. That's how I did it, because it's a lot easier. But smoking food is, if you do it right, if you do the smoking the food right, if you realize that you can combine some of these things together to add to, if you salt, if you have access to a little bit of salt or sugar to put on the meat before, you rub the salt in or soak it in brine for a couple of hours. The thing about it is, if you soak it in the brine water, you got to evaporate that water off too. So you just lengthen the amount of time that you have to run and fetch wood and chase off possums and stuff like that. But if you can add the salt and the sugar or whatever and then dry it, it will last longer. You can, I've read some stuff today that dried meat's only good for a couple of days if you don't refrigerate it. Well, you can, I've made jerky and left it on my dash for 2 or 3 weeks and ate it. It didn't kill me. Maybe not the best thing in the world. Actually, it tasted fine. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I got lucky. But that homemade jerky, and heck, is in the refrigerator for 2 weeks, and then I actually took it to Rob's, and I was eating it, and I threw it up on my dash, and it got covered up, and I forgot about it, and I found it, and I was like, oh, I wonder if this thing's good. I took a bite, and I was like, oh, yeah, it tastes fine. So I ate it. I ate like, I don't know, if it hadn't been dried out, that would have been a whole T-bone steak worth of red beef, and it did kill me. Don't you think I got worms or nothing? So smoking is a good alternative. Dehydrating the meat that the only time you can't do it with pork or bear or rodents. Rodents wouldn't be prudent. If you do dehydrate your pork or your bear, okay, if you smoke the bear or the pork, don't just take it out like you would beef and eat it, or deer and eat it. Cook it. Rehydrate it in the stew. Cook the snot out of it. Be afraid. While again, don't just kill because you're not cooking the deer when you dehydrate it. That's why my phone didn't charge. I had it on the charger for like 2 hours. Just messing with you. I just derailed myself. Anyway, you're not cooking the meat. So anything you smoke after the event, cook it before you eat it. Okay, that's where I was going with that. The next thing I wrote down was salting food. Salting food is not like curing bacon or whatever. Curing bacon is not salted. I mean, bacon is not salted pork or salted beef or salted anything. Bacon has salt added to it, and then it's cured. If you leave bacon out on the counter for a couple of 3 days, you're taking a pretty big risk. Okay. Salt pork, on the other hand, is actually pork that has been cut up and packed in pounds and pounds of salt. Okay. It's you actually, when you cut it up to use the salt pork, you actually have to soak it in water to remove some of the salt so you can eat it. It's that salty. And I'm serious. You want to soak salt pork in water before you fry it up and use the grease and stuff to cook everything, or you won't be able to eat anything because it will taste like, it'll like you're putting salt straight in your mouth. It's that salty. You can't taste anything but the salt. But the downside to salting pork is it takes, I wrote some of the stuff down. Let's see. It takes a lot of salt. And salt pork, if you say you butcher a hog in the cool weather in October, and you get it in the salt, it'll winter, okay, without freezing. It'll make it through the winter, and then it'll make it up into the spring. After things thaw out and stuff, and it's not frozen anymore, the salt pork will last. You get about 4 or 5 months doing the salt pork or salt beef or whatever it is you're salting. Then after that, it's it's kind of risky. So there's that. It takes up, and you can't just keep reusing the salt because you put dead animal body parts in the salt that you salted it with. So yeah, I guess you could wash the salt and then boil it back out of the water, but hey, that's up to you. Where at? Canning foods. You need jars. If you're careful with your jars, you can reuse them. The only thing is the flats, or the lids rather. Or you can get some that are multiple use or something, but that's still something that's only going to go for so long. Canning is a relatively new science. It's nowhere near print. They didn't can stuff before. I need to look that up, but I'm pretty sure they didn't can vegetables in the 1850s. I need to find out when they started canning stuff. Putting food in metal cans and stuff started pretty early on. But I don't know when they started putting it to where you could home can vegetables.
Do you not think canning will be viable for a while?
It depends on if you prep for it. You need to buy a lot of flats. A lot. You need to store flats. You need to buy reusable flats. And when you can something, don't crank that lid down on it as tight as you can. Allow the gasket on the flat to do its job. And be aware that you can reuse non-reusable flats. You might even get a couple of times out of them. But there's a chance. But the thing is, you'll know if they fail because of the little doingy thing. Make sure you get the flats that have the button.
So is it a button or a doingy?
Doingy. The doingy button. Make sure you get the doingy button. It's the best, most popular thing in my house for me. It's annoying to some people, but hey, I got a pass on being annoying for a couple of days. I did get her Frito pie for Valentine's Day. There you go. Romance, guys. You got to keep you alive. Bloody Salt Cure Box should be a channel name. Okay, yeah, that would work for me. Anyhow, canning is seriously, that's why get the lids, learn how to can. hoard your canning supplies. Find out. Figure out how to hoard jars. Figure out how to hoard lids. Figure out, because in the future, the people that can do canning, will outlast the others. Simply because they can store the food that they grow during the prime time a long time. Canning buys you years. It's the only, of the ones I have down, what we got? 1810. Kimberly? Anyway, don't know who, but he submitted his invention to the French government and was announced the winner of the January 1810. Some 15 years after his first began experimenting, that same year, Appert published The Art of Preserving Animal and Vegetable Substances, the first cookbook of its kind on modern food preservation. Canning was invented in 1810. I was wrong. So, who would have thunk it? Anyways, we'll double check those sources and get back to you. Maybe, probably not. Check them yourself. You're on YouTube watching me. You've got plenty of time on your hands.
The first commercial canning establishment in the U.S. was started in 1912, the year my daddy was born.
No, she's not that old. Her daddy stayed probably a while. Okay. I got hung up on canning, didn't I? Okay, canning. Canning buys you the second to the most time on storing food. Okay. Fermentation. You can actually rot food to make it last longer. I didn't take any notes on fermentation. Fermentation is like making sauerkraut and stuff like that. You can ferment more than just sauerkraut, but everybody thinks it's sauerkraut. You basically take your garden vegetables and let them go sour. By letting them go sour, you actually grow good bacteria. And if you keep the vegetables submerged in the solution, the acid and stuff that you use to cause the fermentation doesn't allow food poisoning bacteria and substances to grow. So if you do develop something on top of your fermented vegetables, you literally scrape it off and throw it away. The stuff down in the bottom is still fine. The downside to that, it'll only buy you several weeks. If you ferment your cabbage, all comes due or whatever, and you'll have room in your root cellar, which is actually on here. Well, it didn't make the list. Or did it? Can't remember. Anyway, it only buys you a few weeks, but it allows you to, instead of watching it go bad on the counter, you can chop it up, put it in a jar with some vinegar and some salt and some other stuff. And well, there you go. You can eat cabbage that's ready to be eaten, that's ready for your body to digest, that'll actually add to the healthy stuff in your gut to make you feel better and work better and blah, 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 just in general be better. From stuff that would have sat out there and gone black on the counter. There you go. Fermentation is a good thing. It's a skill you need to know how to do. Okay. Fermentation. Drying food, just regular dehydrating vegetables, stuff like that. Fruits, vegetables, dried apples, dried bananas, dried green beans, dried whatever it is you're going to dry. The stuff that makes food go bad requires water. If you can eliminate the water, then the fungus and the bacteria, they don't have the building block required for life. They can't mess with your food. Okay, so drying is a really good option. And who in here saw the movie Armageddon or whatever, where the guy, the medic or whatever, is his family, they're trying to get out of Los Angeles and stuff, and he cuts his finger on something and he dies after making it through all the crap he did. Anyway, they were using an old passenger van with the seats taken out, the one with all the windows all over the place. They were using that to dehydrate apples. Had the front windows cracked a little bit, putting all the apples in the back. Was it 150 degrees in there, 120? And a little bit of breeze going through to pull the moisture out of the apples. I mean, you can dehydrate. You don't have to have a $2,000 food dehydrator to dehydrate stuff. You just have to think outside the box to get it done. You just have to, these are all things we need to practice now. These aren't things we need to buy books on so we can figure out how to do it if we have to. And that's better than nothing. But if you really believe that there is the potential for really bad situations worldwide or nationwide, then these are things you need to learn how to do. You need to become proficient at. Ladies, if your husband says, hey, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to smoke a brisket, let him. Guys, that doesn't mean go out and make a big fat barbecue and drink beer and then get fat from eating it. That means cut all the fat off of it, slice it up, and sit out there and babysit a little fire all day long just so you can keep smoke flowing up over what you're doing. Build a smokehouse. Well, I'm going to go outside and build a smokehouse. Or, if your wife's so inclined and she's the one who wants to do all that, she can throw you the remote and get your own beer, and she's going to go outside and she's going to build a smokehouse. She's going to make you look better. So, you just got to learn how to do this stuff. This is stuff that's important. And I don't even think I got down the whole thing. Oh. Corn grains, okay? Not just, you got corn, milo, wheat, oats, rye, barley, all those things. They all have one thing in common. They have to be harvested. Wheat and barley and all that has to be harvested dry. And then after it's harvested and taken off the stalk, it needs to be dried again. It needs to be put somewhere where it can finish drying. Hold on 1 minute. That was not warm at all. You want to get the water content down. I read the numbers. You want the water out of the more water you can get out of the wheat and the barley and the rye and the oats, the longer it'll store, the better it'll store. Corn. Who's ever heard of a corn crib? Okay. A corn crib, thank you, was where after they got the corn out of the field, you leave it in the field, you let it go to seed in the field, and when everything's nice and dry, you go out there, you pull it off, you shuck it, you pull the wrappers off the corn, and then you put it somewhere where it can get plenty of air, no rain, no humidity, and let it dry. They actually stored their corn on the cob. When they got ready for corn, they could take the corn, get it off the cob, and make the meal. Because while it's on the cob, it's not going to fall down in the cracks for one thing. And there's when it's after it's all the way dried out, if it does get humid, the cob will actually absorb the moisture and keep it away from the kernels. It's designed like that for a reason. So laying out in the fields and stuff, naturally growing corn wouldn't all rot on the cob. Okay? Yeah. It's really cool when you think about this stuff. But don't make the mistake of getting your corn out of the garden and taking it off the cob and then trying to store it. It does not dry all the way in the field. It does not finish drying for a few weeks, like 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, depending on your temperature and humidity levels and stuff around where you're doing this. All dependent on where you're at. It can take several weeks for the corn to finish drying on the cob. If you have a place for it to dry out good and you know it's dry, you can take it off the cob and you can put it somewhere. But wherever you put it needs to be a place where it's not going to get any humidity. And it has to have airflow. Because if you do have any humidity trapped in if there's too much water in your corn when you put it up, even in just a handful of it, it'll spread to the rest of it and mess everything up. That's kind of a big deal. It can mess up a lot. You can wind up in a big hurt that way. Same thing with your wheat and your oats and all that. You have to make sure they're dry before you put them in the sacks. I don't know how many of y'all noticed, but corn and wheat and oats, they're in sacks. They're in sacks that breathe. They're not watertight sacks. So, anyway, that was me running through my list of food storage things really, really fast. Root cellars. I actually did write root cellars down somewhere. Don't know where. Root cellars. I wrote down a note. Root cellars and spring house refrigerators. If you have a root cellar, which has to have a minimum of 3 feet of dirt on top of it, irregardless of what part of the world you're in. It's 3 feet of dirt. Okay? And it has to have not forced ventilation, but it has to have something where you can change the air slowly. Then, because if the air changes too fast in there, it'll take the outside air and it'll heat up your root cellar or refrigerate your root cellar. Okay? You want a little bit of air getting in there, but you don't want a lot. Potatoes, carrots, cabbages, winter squash, all that kind of stuff like that, or summer squash, or winter squash. You can keep in a root cellar and it will last a super long time. You can store your canned goods in the root cellar as long as you've got it to where it's dry, and it helps them last longer. Cool, dry, perfect longevity for foods. Got to be careful about storing your corn and stuff like that in like a root cellar, because humidity, mold, bad things. Not all of us are in a position where we can build a spring house refrigerator. It's basically, you take the spring, You plumb it to where the spring runs through a trough or a series of troughs inside a spring house, which has got 18, 20-inch rock walls and a seriously insulated roof. And the water runs through there and cools the inside of the building before going out and being used for something else, like drinking or bathing or whatever. The 40, 50 degree water that's coming from the spring, sometimes cooler than that, flows through the spring house, and you can keep milks and butters, and you can even refrigerate meat for a little while in there. There's a lot of work, and it's not something an individual would do. It's something it would, I'm talking a lot of work. They actually have a spring house up at the, if anybody's close, in Lubbock, Texas, the Ranching Heritage Museum. Call ahead, get a tour. They actually rebuilt one of the spring house coolers that was used on one of the ranches in the area back in the day, and it's super cool. You should go check it out. They actually had it set up to where you could actually stand under kind of a veranda-like thing and catch the cool breeze coming out of the spring. Yeah. And that, my friends, is the end of my thingy. Hello, Kildare. Now, what did I miss? I have any questions over here or anything?
We're just talking about toilet paper.
Toilet paper. So I'm talking about food, and y'all are talking about storing food, and y'all are talking about getting rid of food and cleaning up the evidence. Remember, in Teotihuacan, don't throw away your used toilet paper because you might need it for tinder. Your fire might smell a little, but I just plan on using a washcloth.
That was one of the options. Wash off and boil it. I'm not even corn on the cob.
I ain't using corn on the cob.
Cob.
I
Cob.
just walk around with a itchy butthole. That's not gonna happen.
I said we just need to get more critters, and I'll just use some. I'll go out there and cut off a swath of fur.
You be like the bear talking to the buddy rabbit in the woods. Hey, does poop stick to your fur? Always say yes in the animal kingdom. I have been in a bind. I've used grass. Honestly, folks, one really good option is your fingers, and use some dirt and then go wash your hand. Not dirt down that leg, and then wipe your hand in the dirt. Oil field, before OSHA got in it, okay, I've crapped just about everywhere. Even crapped on an occupied badger hole one time. Never, ever do that. Never. I'm really glad that that was before everybody had a camera in their pocket. I had a clean place to run. The badger did, and I got away. So, anyway, yeah. Technical difficulties with the camera. Hold on. What'd you say?
Houston neighbors.
That's an option. No, I haven't seen Daniel Boone and a squirrel. Yeah, yeah, leaves are iffy, and
We don't
yeah,
have
no,
poison ivy or poison oak around here, so around here, the only problem is most of the trees are mesquites, and so you can't you can't use
yeah.
mesquite.
Then, can you imagine using some of that foxtail grass
Oh gosh, no.
out there? God, that just you'd bleed when you're done. I mean, everybody's like, they don't realize. I mean, toilet paper's a big deal. Hey, Jeff, you're lucky they didn't use it well. That could get pretty serious. Yeah, I'm sure, Savage. I figured you were tough enough to say, just command that, it cleans up itself, and next thing you know, pristine. Dingleberry, dung beetle. Um. Anyways,
Then we Morris said he cleaned cloth diapers with his first good boys. We use cloth diapers. I mean,
cloth diapers are actually way better for your kid. They're way better for you. They were cheaper, man.
yeah. And Miss Thang in there had such sensitive skin that the store-bought ones tore her up.
Yeah. And hello to everybody that I missed. Let me scroll up and see. There's Carol, Killdeer, Dingleberry, Savage, Survival, some crazy lady, Jeff Nody, Just Aid, Robert and Cindy Moore. Did I say hi to Christy Jennings yet? Music Well. I think that's everybody. Chipper, Team Foco. What's up? What's up, Steve? I think that's everybody. I don't see anybody else. Walter Davis. I think I talked to you earlier. What Walter said about the corn. And that, I mean, did they not wash the hand after they get through?
Well, even if you wash it, unless you're using antibacterial soap, if you actually put your hand off in it, don't be touching me with your hand. You better use some alcohol and oh,
It's Teowaki, honey.
it ain't for right now, so you better go put some alcohol on that hand if you want to touch somebody with it.
I don't plan on going out there and scraping my honey with my finger right now. I believe I just grabbed
Wash
paper
it with
towel.
water, maybe soap if they have it. Yeah, if they ain't pouring some alcohol, surely they got some kerosene. Let me
Maybe they got some
kerosene on
goat milk soup or soap or something. Okay, so you can marry your goat over there now, right? So, like, does that mean that if you eat goat over there, you're a cannibal? I'm just asking. Yeah, way to go, lady. Yes, let's bring up the worm situation. Hey, D-Day. Basically, the food story, this happens every time. That's why I should like just come up, do the topic, talk about it, and then I should close these things because it always goes south like this in the chats, dude. I'm telling you. Well, there is that, lady, but I didn't mean for everyone to dwell on it. It's an option. You could just like, well, I have no toilet paper. I'm not using the poison oak or the razor grass, so I'm just going to walk around with it. That's not going to be pleasant. I mean, you don't want to go down and like, well, I don't know. Jack used to do that. They'd go out, walk out the river, do his business in the river, and then just sit down. Wassy, it's all over. I guess that's one option. But whoever's downriver from you ain't going to enjoy it. So, yeah, they are. Is that where that smell my finger come from?
I thought we were changing the subject.
I don't know. I can't help it. I was reading this thinking chat again.
What if he's thinking if that's all we keep talking about?
Yeah, it's gonna keep us thinking. So anyway, does anybody else have any alternative methods of food storage that could be used post current world? You know, has anybody got any ideas, useful ideas out there that do not involve feces? I don't think, and here we go. I did it to myself. I don't think that you should smoke meat with dung. Probably harmless. I'm just saying it might not taste right.
Oh, this has a strange taste today, man.
What kind of wood do you use to smoke that brisket with? I want to know. Just eat it.
Well, Kid did try to change the subject to the weather.
Oh, well.
We're supposed to have snow.
Yeah, it's freezing
Snow and
rain
ice and
Tuesday.
everything. Well, starting Monday night, we're supposed to start having.
Did you check the weather? You know how hot it was today?
It was 80 something today.
It was 83 flipping degrees, and it's supposed to freeze over and ice up in a couple of days.
Yeah, it's supposed to be icy and
I hate
sleety and
February.
all that Monday and Tuesday. Ice and snow.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm glad I didn't put my grapes out. Started putting grapes out. I was actually checking the weather to go put my grapes out. Like, I can't put my grapes out if it's going to freeze. Hello, H&X Media. Who else coming here that I haven't caught? We need some rain. While I am at it, I don't know if y'all noticed the live stream was a little different. I actually had a topic that we ran over and we talked about, and I'm going to try to do that more often. I think that if I'm going to take up y'all's time with a live stream, and y'all are going to give me your time to view my channel and listen to my voice and watch my face if I remember to turn the camera back on. The least I can do is try to come up with something that's entertaining and educational. I know a little bit about smoke curing meat. I know a little bit about making jerky, and I've played around with it since I was in my 20s. That's, a year or two ago. And and my actual preferred method is using sugar. I like to put sugar. I slice up the whatever it is, the venison. I've made. I actually went and bought the lamb. I did it just to see if I could. I made some jerky out of a lamb once. Sheep. But beef, venison, and the lamb. And I found that if I'll put just slice the meat up, put some sugar in it, a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, and let it soak overnight, it lasts forever. Because fungus and bacteria does not like sugar. Bacteria don't like sugar. They don't. All right, Chrissy, have a good night. What other groups are we talking about over here?
Oh, how they have the Jewish groups and Muslim groups that are doing the patrols with these.
Oh, yeah, but that's
technically supposed to be doing is just watching, and then if they see something happening, they're supposed to radio it in.
Yeah, and
we'll see.
I'm not as worried about that. I really don't like it, honestly, but I don't like the Jewish patrols and I don't like the Asian patrols.
Right.
Because already the Jewish patrols and the Asian patrols both have stepped over the line.
Exactly. And that's always going to be the problem.
And they're, of all the cultures out there, they're probably the most moderate in their behavior. And with the Asians being the most moderate, then followed by the Jews, but the next ones, the ones that have the new patrols, they're not known for moderation. What, babe?
That's calling Mom to come
Oh.
see when I pull a cup up.
So it's broken. I mean, that would be like me saying we're going to have a redneck patrol in the neighborhood.
Hey, Mom.
She said, "Hold on.
Oh, I didn't hear her.
Well, you need to get your hearings fixed.
Mom,
You need to get your hearings fixed."
this fan is loud.
Huh?
That's why sometimes when the TV's so loud.
What are the police for then? They're for writing tickets and stuff. We could do away with the police and neighborhood watches and the whole 9 yards. All we would have to do is all of us start obeying the laws. Yep. Problem solved. If nobody's breaking the law, you don't need law enforcement. Simple as that. Problem with that is there's always people breaking the laws. So you need somebody to enforce the laws. Sucks. But that's the way it is. We can't abolish all the laws because, well, reasons. Even if you just kept the ones that everybody like, well, we just need laws that protect people. All the laws are basic. Well, not all of them. Most of the laws are actually designed to protect someone. So you just said, okay, we can't get rid of most of the laws. And Dean, I haven't found anything that says they have been given the authority or that they have any intention of enforcing Sharia law. We need to keep an eye on them. They actually, all the people trained, I don't like the fact that these people are running around in vehicles. They need to have recognizable vehicles, but they don't need to have vehicles that mimic the police. I don't agree with that. They don't need to be dressed in a way that mimics the police. They need to be dressed in a way that's distinguishable from the other guy in the crowd. But they don't need to look like somebody they're not. They were actually trained, they went to training by the police departments, and they're only supposed to observe and make 911 calls and basically be a good witness for the prosecution. You know, if it's something they can sound the horn and say, hey, I've called the police and break it up or whatever, that's about all they're allowed to do. That's the way it's supposed to be. I think it's something that we all need to keep an eye on and make sure that they don't start doing the Sharia law. I don't think it's ready for them to try anything public like that. Sharia law is something that's done in the background. Even over there, they don't, until recently, they didn't just come right out and just do it because Sharia law is so harsh. I mean, you cut a guy's head off for being a homosexual or beat him to death, whatever, hang him, cut a guy's hand off for stealing a loaf of bread. You hang a guy. I mean, I think actually, I forget what the penalty is for eating with the wrong hand. It's pretty steep. Yeah, we need to keep an eye on it, but there's been nothing like that happen. There's a lot of news sources out there. I very loosely use the term news sources on that. Like, I'm not even going to call out their channel names. There's a lot of guys on YouTube that are full of stuff you have to wipe off with your finger if you don't have toilet paper. Okay? The end. Don't buy into this junk. They're full of crap. And most of them are just stealing and re-editing somebody else's work anyway. They don't even have their own work. They don't do anything. They never leave their basement. So how do they know anything? So I'm just saying. I digress. That is like running everywhere. Did you mean to do that? Hold on, I gotta go look at this before she gets it all over the floor and I have to smash it with a hammer. Be right back.
Look at her floor lightly.
I don't guess I want to. Oh, that's really pretty, especially. I always do that, cheese. Hey, don't touch me. No touching.
It's washable paint. It just washes off the water.
That's fine, but well, I don't know what you ate, but you got it all over your hands. You might not eat so many of them blackberries next time or blueberries or whatever they do. But see, there's a lot of other religion. There's Christians. That article Lady S sent me in the email, which I forgot to forward to Mrs. But that scares me. Okay.
And then when
That scares me. Scares me. I don't know what it did to you, but it scared me. I mean, we don't need all the giant churches coming together and saying, we were wrong all this time. we've all got to learn to get together. That coexisting is going to be the end of civilization. I mean, we can't coexist. Hindu can't. Well, actually, Hindu is pretty cold. They can. If you can't get along with Hindu people, then you're not doing something right. The end. They do get a little bit sticky about it if you just want to have the one God, but other than that, Buddhism, but most of your hardcore religions can't coexist. By the book, Islam cannot exist with by the book, Jew or Christian. It can't. It's against their Bible to coexist with us. That they actually sin against their God if they don't convert us. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of hard to coexist with. If they didn't have that little thing where we've got to spread it worldwide, which Christians have the same thing, the difference is we just want to give you the option. Supposedly, some of you guys need to slack up and back off. It's our job to give them the option, and that's it. We tell them about God, tell them about Jesus. We said this is what you got to do. This is how you got to live. If they want it, they want it. If they don't, they don't. Them going or not going one place or the other is not up to us. It's not our business. We're not supposed to worry about it.
I made the picture really dark.
Look, she vomited ice cream. Ice cream. I got it.
If you turn the brightness down, they can see it now.
That sounds right. I'm not going to see. Can't see that. Oh. Anyway, y'all have to wait for real life.
Anyways, that's what it really looks like. Oh.
Ish.
Oh, dear. Oh, tell me. My hair's crazy.
Mm-hmm. We were talking about Christianity and Islam and people wanting to cut your face off. Stuff.
That's hateful.
It is. But look, your chin's blacked out by the little box. I'm going to try to schedule some of these Friday things where there's somebody else in here for us to talk with too, rather than just being me. But we'll see. Smurf guts, basically, that's, Tannerite and Smurfs, what do you get? Wah! It's it's what happens. You get stuck after eating road corn and Pop Tarts. You're saying by the word or by the sword is the real thing. You're going to have to expound on that. Steve, I don't think if we live by every word of God, which is biblical, then we can't throw our swords away. We're not supposed to solve we're not supposed to live by the sword. But what?
It says, anyway, the dominant hand and stuff. Return to work expectations. In your opinion, does the patient have some capacity for work? No. If no, when do you anticipate the patient will have capacity to work? Never. Signed 2/14/2019 by Dr. Patel. Sorry, he sent it to me. I had to share. I think it's because she doesn't want him going back to manual labor.
Okay, well, did you just get that or something?
Yeah.
Thank y'all.
Sorry, guys.
Does it say never?
Never.
Yeah. Guys, I gotta go. I love y'all. I gotta call my son. Okay. Y'all stay alive. Don't die.